Hi everybody, Jim McLennan here with another one-tune concert for you. Today I'm going to play an old song of mine, an instrumental piece called Prairie Rose. There's a little Prairie Rose for you. Not too much to say about that tune. It's in drop D tuning for guitar players. It's kind of all based on the thing I like to do, which is have open strings ring against fretted notes. This chord here, I can't. As usual, I can't play it unless I'm playing the song. Sort of thing. It's kind of based around a lot of those sounds that I like a lot. I talk about something else this time, and this is probably more for guitar players than anybody else, but it's important, and that is a little bit about intonation and tuning. And intonation of a guitar is how it plays in tune at all places on the neck. And the first thing I guess you have to know is that, and I saw this phrase, I don't know, on Facebook or somewhere, it said, a guitar is a pitch approximation device. So it's a rare guitar that plays perfectly in tune all the way up the neck, every string, every fret. So if you know that, it'll help you kind of approach this. And you know, when everybody checks the intonation of a guitar, they play this an open string, and they check with the tuner, and they check that, and they check that same string at the 12th fret. And they do that with all the strings. And you know, if it's an E note here, it should be an octave here, it should be dead on an E note there. And it's true, it should be. But for practical purposes, how often do you play up here? Well, not very much, a little bit. Where you do play a lot is down here. And if you're considering buying a new guitar and you want to check the intonation, check it at the 12th fret, but also check it with a tuner, a good precise tuner at sort of the first 5 frets, because it's got to be in tune there. And you'd be surprised how many high quality guitars are not dead on in tune at every fret. So once you sort of accept that, even though it seems like it shouldn't be the case, if that's the way things work, you can understand tuning a little better. And what I see from a lot of people, and first of all, let me say I'm not an expert on this, but I've learned a few things that I believe to be true. What people do is they get a tuner, a headstock tuner. I've got one here in the sound port here, this guitar. And they put it on, and then you tune all the open strings till they're dead on. And then they make the assumption that the guitar is ready to go. Well, if you were playing all open strings, it would be ready to go. But those aren't the notes you play most of the time. So what a tuner does is helpful, but it's not complete. There's just too many variables to affect the tuning and intonation of the guitar in different places. The gauge of your strings, the precise placement of the frets, how hard you push down on the strings, and things like weather, humidity, and that sort of stuff are all going to affect in very slight ways the intonation and the ability of the guitar to be tuned properly. So the way I go about this is I tune 2 different ways for 2 different situations. If I'm going to record one song, I try and get the guitar as perfectly in tune for that song as I can. So I start by getting the open strings in tune with the tuner, and then I check every note of the main chord in the song. This is in D, so I check every note of the D chord, put the tuner on and check every one of those notes and see if you get those correct. And then check various octaves in places. So it's pretty good. You get it that way, and you can check octaves up the neck. That kind of thing, and see if they're in tune. Another thing I like to do is to take the tuner and get the open strings, get an open string in tune, acceptably in tune with the tuner, and then fret the 2nd or 3rd fret on that same string. And get it so the tuner is happy with both of them. It may be that they won't be both 100% dead on pitch, but if they're acceptable to the tuner, then it's probably going to be okay. And the other thing that you should do is, if you're using a capo, do this fine-tuning bit when the capo's in place, because the capo's going to change the pitch a little bit depending on how hard it pushes down. So that's what you do when you need to record you're going to record one song. If you're going to perform a set of music in a live performance, then you have to get the guitar acceptable in all the keys and capo positions you're going to use in that performance. So this is going to require some compensation in all likelihood to get it so it sounds acceptable everywhere. James Taylor has kind of an interesting way of doing it. He's figured it out, what the amount that he compensates on each string to get an acceptable tuning in all the keys and capo positions. And that's good. But your guitar may require something a little bit different. Every guitar is different, and you have to kind of learn what yours are. This guitar, I have to have the B string very slightly flat, and I have to have the G string tuned very slightly sharp to get it acceptable in all positions. And the other thing that you really should know that I found is, all the guitars I've got, if I get the E string in tune to open E, the low E string, then I play a G on the 3rd fret, it's going to be sharp. So I have to compensate by tuning that E string a little bit flat to make that work. Anyway, this is a lot of blathering on my part, but I hope it's of some value to guitar players. And if not, you will have turned this off long ago. So anyway, thanks for joining me again today. If you can do me a favor, subscribe to this YouTube channel of mine, and I'm just going to explain something about subscribing. This is another example of our friend the internet taking a word that means one thing and making it mean something else when it's used in the internet, and that is the word subscribe. For a long time, I didn't want to subscribe to anything on the internet because I thought I was going to pay for something and then somebody was going to send me something, like a magazine would work. But no, all it means apparently on the internet is that you're going to get a notice when I put a new tune up. So that's all. So if you can do that, subscribe and it would be great. Or send me a message or a question or anything you like. And thank you for tuning in, and I'll be back. Thanks very much.